Live from the Battleborn Broadcast Center, it's Cofield Company on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
Today's show at the Battleborn Broadcast Center for Battleborn Injury Lawyers. Call 766-1400 anywhere in the state of Nevada. 775 in the north. Justin Watkins is here, former public servant, college chaos insider, John Von Tobel as well. I'm going to read you a tweet, which is a tease. We know July 1st, that was the date. We're expecting a decision from Judge Wilkin in this House settlement case. Like, everything's going to change. One of the dudes at CBS said the most important person in the history of college football is a 75-year-old woman from Minnesota. Blah, blah, blah. Here's a story from CBS Sports. A little too much? Most important woman in the history, or most important person in the history of college football?
Yeah, I think it's too much.
Because you've been telling us, like, this is going to happen, and then lots of other stuff is going to happen. There's no finality.
You know what's interesting about that article is, like, number one, they're like, we expected this before July. Based on what? She never said she was going to. She didn't create that deadline. Huh. They just made that up. July 1st, we're going to start doing this. Now, number one, nothing's stopping you, right? You can start doing it now. It's NCAA rules. You could do it. So start revenue sharing. See what happens. Whatever. You've already changed the rule. You're changing the rule for July 1st. This has no impact on that. So she can come out with this decision in October, and you could be implementing everything that you think you're protected on in the House rules. The ignorance and the confusion that is exhibited in all these articles by, like, athletic directors and presidents about what this means is astonishing. They're like, okay, well, we get this before July 1st, and then all these things are going to fall into place. It's like, no, dude, you're going to be sued the next day. Like, this is not going to solve anything for you. You think at best it gives you cover to go to Congress and say, can you please just put this in the code? Can you please make this an antitrust and exemption and a Title IX exemption? But I'm telling you, this is not outside of that or collective bargaining. These presidents and athletic directors are like, oh my gosh, I just need her to approve this so my budget looks good and we are good to go. And that is not how this is going to play out. It's not. And I hope that there is somebody in the room that just says, you know what? Let's try to figure out how to collective bargain so that, we're going to get sued when the House comes down. We're going to get sued right away, but nothing's going to happen for a year or two of those litigation cases. So let's just try to get up with a system of collective bargaining. They're putting all their eggs in the congressional basket. I think that's just a tough sell.
Why do you think they think that? Just in general, these people, because
they're hopeful.
I guess they're hopeful, but
clarity.
They're also, some of them are relatively well-educated people that have some background in at least studying these sort of things. I would think one or two of them at least in positions of power. So why would this be the case that they are this ignorant about what this process is going to be?
Because they have no alternative.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. This is the only thing that they've got. They got three potential avenues to solve this in their mind. House settlement approval. I don't think that solves anything, but whatever. Congressional action in line with the House settlement or collective bargaining. And it's just the higher ups have been like calling the shots. We are not collectively bargaining, and they're just all towing the company line. You've seen a couple of exceptions actually out there. Some coaches have come out and like, I think we should collectively bargain. I saw a couple of ADs come out there. Yeah, let's just collectively bargain, get this over with. So maybe that's starting to get some general acceptance. But I think they just have to portray some level of confidence in order to not lose viewership. I think that's what it is. But ultimately I don't know, because anybody in the Title IX or antitrust space, any lawyer who's working in that field, no one, 0% of them think this solves the problem. So it's not like this is some biased opinion coming into play. This is just me summarizing every legal opinion that's out there.
So while that's going on, then there's player eligibility issues. There are kids all over the country, former JUCOs, who want more eligibility. There's a guy like Zakai Ziegler, who was at Tennessee. How about this one from Michael McCann, who's into the sports law stuff as well? President Trump's Department of Justice in that case. Why? What's going on?
Yeah. So, I mean, the Department of Justice has gotten involved in pretty much all of these actions that have worked their way into antitrust litigation, because that they are an enforcement arm of antitrust. They can bring antitrust actions themselves. So they have a vested interest in having good case law being developed in the court system so that they can enforce or at least have some predictability of how to enforce antitrust law. And Mike McCann's so good on this stuff. He's the leader of this sports legal side of analysis. And, he caught on to this brief and he's pointing to the fact that the DOJ seems to be giving a little bit of cover to the NCAA's 4 years in 4 years of eligibility in 5 years of college, to say that there's some really good arguments here that it is pro-competitive, not anti-competitive. Antitrust means anti-competitive, and that maybe they'll survive this action. What Ziegler's going out and saying is, listen, you're giving everybody 5 years, and I just happen to do it right and play and graduate in 4 years as intended. Why won't you? And I want to go into grad school. Why won't you give me 5 years and 5 as a grad school student? I'm not taking any roster spot away from anybody because everybody's doing 5 years. They're just redshirting and collecting the check then. So what's end up happening is, if you don't agree with my position, you're going to have a whole bunch of people take roster spots, redshirt, because they could still get the NIL money. They're going to get the revenue share money. They're going to hold on to that, and then they'll play their 4 years to maximize their earnings. You want to promote my kind of behavior. People who actually go to school, graduate, go on to grad school.
It's actually incentive.
Yes.
Hey, graduate in 4 years, you get a fifth.
Exactly. That's it. Now, the counter argument is that by turning over the roster more frequently, and creating these hard deadline rules, you are separating college from pros, and you are making it more likely that there'll be more student involvement, more scholarships, and more people come to the sport. I'm not 100% sure I agree upon that, because you change the rule to 5 and 5 one time, and then it only affects one class. And then every subsequent class, they all know the 5 and 5 rule.
Yeah.
And make it a 5 and 5 if you graduate rule. Love that. And you're enrolled in graduate school. Like, that's great. That'd be a great rule.
Justin Watkins, John Von Tobel. I've been beating up the SEC for the 4 AQ thing. Hey, we want 4 teams that are automatically schools that are automatically in. Now, Ryan Day has spoken up on this on behalf of the Big Ten.
Yes, he has. The quote from him, he says the Big Ten deserves 4 automatic qualifying spots. Quote, we're the Big Ten. We have 18 teams of the best programs. I feel like we deserve at least 4 automatic qualifiers.
Listen to Soren Petro on this. He was on last week, and he was ranting about something that really hasn't been covered, is what they do with the 4 AQ bids. Like, it doesn't ensure that they go with, hey, top 4 teams are in. This could be a money-making deal for conferences like the Big Ten and the SEC if they're given 4 guaranteed spots.
Oh, no. We want to guarantee that we're going to have 4 SEC teams so we can have our own tournament and have our own television deal for the SEC tournament for those 4 seats. Like, never mind that it's not necessarily going to be the 4 best SEC teams. Maybe we do an NBA play-in thing, and the 11th best SEC team ends up getting one of those slots. So suck on that. You think you're getting this big playoff, but instead you're going to watch this 7 and 5 SEC team that got hot at the right time get in there, and you're stuck with it.
I was laughing when he started flipping out because he started getting more and more heated, and I was like, he's right. That's what they're going to do, and then they're going to defend it by going team 8. Well, toughest schedule.
Yep.
They deserve to be in. Like, I thought you wanted the 4 best and the best in the tournament.
Yeah. I mean, he's right. It's not a secret. Sankey already said, we want the guaranteed spots so we can have playing games and more home games. Right. It's like a home playoff game now. So that they're going to do with it. But here's sort of my take on it. I actually think that the Big 12 and ACC in particular might be overplaying their hand with the 5+11. 5+11, you're getting one Big 12. You might
explain 5+11.
It is 5 automatic qualifiers. Yep. The 4, power 4s, 1 group of 5, group of 6, whatever. And then 11 at large.
Just by the rankings.
Yep. And if you look at the rankings,
we can't trust the rankings.
You know what you got on the rankings?
Yep.
You got 11. You got 11 Big Ten and SEC schools. That's exactly what you would got.
And it is hard as hell to get in as a Big 12, and they crap on you just like they crap on the ACC and forget about the group of five.
Well, don't forget like the BCS and the manipulation of the polls. I mean, they will ensure that they get 10 of those 11. They're gonna ensure. So you're gonna end up with 6-6,
right?
1-1. Maybe 2-1, something like that. Because Notre Dame, right? Like Notre Dame might get in there. This last year, actually, it would have been like SMU might have got in addition. Well, they did, right? Yeah. So, this year, ACC would have had 2, right? Clemson, just like they did, and SMU. But most years, and then they're going to have a trouble.
I'll just tell you, Sankey's saying, just look at history. Yep. No, I'm not looking at history, Greg. The whole sport's changed.
Yeah.
You guys are losing guys left and right at SEC schools. You might be bringing in other dudes, but the sport has a chance to be more balanced the next 5 years because a lot of the talented players don't want to be twos.
Yep.
They want to play, so they go elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, and if you look at history, you're claiming all of like the championship and polling of these other schools that you've pulled from other conferences. Yeah. You're claiming these Oregon, Pac-12 championships and invites, but now they're in your conference and they got to fight for what's going to happen there. So it's not the same. We can't look at history. You blew up history. You blew it up. So now we got to live with something new. I actually think the 4-4, 2-2-2, give the Pac-12 win there. 1, something like that is actually better for the smaller conferences. I do.
On the way back, LVCVA is again cutting a deal with the Aces to give every player $100,000. I thought we were done with this after year 1 of this.
Live from the Battleborn Broadcast Center, it's Cofield Company on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
Justin Watkins is here, former public servant. So I started out the hour mentioning, man, I really wish we, as a community, paid attention more to where our money goes, especially with the sports stuff. It's great that we have all of it. I like covering all of it. But I think we can cut better deals than we're getting. And I still think this LVCVA giving $100,000 to all the players on the Aces, now it's going to be in year 2. It was just announced the other day, is something, it just blows me away that the WNBA did nothing. Yep. They have an ongoing investigation, like for Kath Engelbert. Like, what's going on? This is so weird on the surface in a league where the players don't make that much money. $100,000 is a lot of money. Yep. And then for us, the taxpayers, again, it's this LVCVA thing where they're throwing money around and like at a minimum, can we get an itemized list of what people are doing for the money?
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. I mean, I think, well, not tend to, I agree. What I would like to see is, okay, obviously the people who are on the LCVCA are not elected officials. They're not accountable to any voters. And then they get this big budget and they just run with it and they make their decisions however they want. Yeah, we want to spend on that. Well, who? I mean, who's making these calls?
Well, we did have a sales tax hike a few years back that included LVCVA and Allegiant.
No, I get it. What I want to see is that they have to submit and get those budgets approved by the legislature. Like, that's what I want to see. There's an interim finance committee. The legislature only meets every other year, but in the interim, they have specifically finance committees to address budget items in off years. They got to submit that budget in detail. Like, you can't just have these little pet projects where one person or a handful of people are like, hey, let's do this. You just spent $100,000 on every person on the roster. You outspent everybody in the league and you lost. You didn't win anything. What did we get as Vegas for that?
Well,
Las Vegas is already on the jersey.
According to the story, in exchange, the players agreed to promotional opportunities such as photo shoots, participating in events, and sponsored social media posts. I'm not trying to beat up on the Aces. Good for them. They're getting free money. I guess I would take it too. One, I think you could spread that amongst a lot of athletes. Mm-hmm. And then there's accountability. Like, what am I getting? I swear, I randomly was like, let me look at Instagram, right? I don't know. You tell me, John, you're the youngest guy. Is IG still kind of big? Would that be one of the places you would find some of this Las Vegas-based social media that they're getting paid for?
TikTok would probably be up there too, but IG would be a fair.
I
will look up their TikTok accounts. I looked up a bench player and a starter. I looked up Megan Gustafson. I counted. There were 34 IG posts in 2025. There was not one mention of Las Vegas. There were a lot of mentions of her dog. I can't remember the dog's name. It's like,
You sure it's not Vegas?
Carrot cake or something. It's not.
Oh.
And then I looked up Jackie Young. She only did 11 IG posts in 2025. Not one was a mention of Las Vegas. I mean, there were a couple pictures of her in the jersey.
Yeah. Well, it's funny the way that it's worded, right? Opportunities. Doesn't say commitments.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't say they're committed to do anything. There'll be opportunities. Maybe they take them, maybe they don't.
I will also repeat, because last year Asia Wilson's like, oh, it's just because it's us. Like, no, if Ashton Genty was signed to a deal, we'd be watching Ashton Genty if he got a certain amount of money or whatever, Jack Besh, if that's who the only guys you could afford. And that's another one. If we're just going to do athletes, who are the top 12 athletes that you would throw $100,000 at in Las Vegas? Now, they might not all take it, and they might not say, hey, I could do it. But give me the top 12. It's not all aces. Who's the most marketable? No. Who has the most bang out of the market? Who is it? Also, wouldn't you pick strategic markets like, hey, you know what? For me, Ashton Genty, he might laugh at 100,000. I don't think he would. But the guy's tied to Boise. You know where you want to get people coming from? Yeah. Boise.
Right. Come watch the Raiders game. Yeah.
Pick tour spots.
That's a.
Am I like crazy?
I mean, to me,
like, whoa, accountability. What a theme.
All this money should be going to UNLV players. That's to me. I mean, that's a state institution. It's an investment that has a potential return, right? If we can help attract better athletes here and our programs do better and there's higher attendance and there's less money that comes out of the general fund to go to the UNLV, that's an investment with a return directly for us as taxpayers. All this other stuff painted to pro athletes, I just don't see the return.
We don't have a list. Even with the other, because they use other influencers. It is a really weird process that goes down with the LVCVA. We love them. They help us, but